technical difficulties. We are driving on the road. A really, 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 really long road. And this is going to be a really long trip. How come I don't see anybody's comments? What's up, everybody? This is going to be a long trip. The internet might just like go out in the middle of this live stream. Whatever. Same old issue, but still got my peeps, so alright. Man. What up? What up? What up? What up? Sup? Where am I going? I'm going somewhere, I'm going to surprise some people that I care about. I'm going to surprise some people that I care about. So it's Passover. It's a holiday of Passover. So it's like a Jewish holiday. My family is very religious, and they don't use their phones. You know, like they don't touch electricity. Turning on electricity and whatever. They're like basically Amish for the holidays, and so they don't know that I'm gonna surprise them. Anyway, Guy Benson 12 says if I turn into a blue state in a couple years, depends. Are you gonna vote blue? Don't vote blue, so it shouldn't turn into a blue state. Although it's not. The trends don't seem to be that people who are moving to Texas are turning it blue. It's actually the people that are from Texas are the ones turning it blue, because they're trying to be like, and people are always like, oh yeah, these Californians coming into Texas and turning us blue. Nope, it's not the Californians. Aside from I've met a lot of Californians that have moved to Texas. Trust me, they're not like Democrats. I mean, the people that are moving to Texas that are from California are moving for a reason, and the numbers show it. There's stats. You can look it up. That are turning their own state blue. So thank you so much, Joe. Thank you, Joe. What up? And thanks for joining. Like, it's so crazy to me that people watch these live streams. So crazy. And when I started doing it, it was purely just for my own loneliness and wanting friends, and just like, then people, why? And then after a while, like, I started doing this thing where I stopped live streaming for a while because I just don't understand why anybody would want to watch it. And anyway, so thank you. And it's a long trip, and it's nice to have company on a long trip. Latinos in general are conservative, says Iron Baron. You wouldn't think that due to people like AOC. Yeah, they seem to be like pretty conservative. What is going on in this road? There's like so much construction happening. So Weed and Wrestling says blue states are insane. I'm reading your comments slowly. They'll eventually. Yeah, so okay. Where's my destination? I'm going to surprise my family for Passover. Surprise them. And religious, and they don't have their phones on or anything. they don't have access to digital communication. So I'm basically just gonna like show up, be like, hello, how are you? And they'll be like, what? Nate says, do a live while observing the Shabbat. I can't do that because you can't observe Shabbat while doing a live stream. It doesn't make sense. You have to have your phone off. That's the whole point of Shabbat. You can't have like any phones. You can't be in a car. You can't. I mean, obviously, I'm not observant myself. I could do a mock Shabbat. That would actually be pretty cool. Do like a mock Shabbat. There are a lot of Jews who like partially do Shabbat. Like they will have a meal and they'll have grape juice, wine, whatever, challah. They'll have they'll do like all these things. They won't and they'll still use their car. They'll still drive around. They'll use their phone, watch TV, whatever. So kind of Shabbat, but not really. Not the Orthodox way, at least. Not the Ben Shapiro way. Iron says, I'm assuming you don't celebrate Christmas. I mean, if I'm with my friends and they're celebrating Christmas, then I'll celebrate it with them. I don't celebrate anything. I don't even celebrate my birthday. I'm not a celebrator. So it's kind of chill. So my friend suggested. Do you hear that? My friend suggested doing a live stream on a road trip, and I was like, what? No. It's actually really relaxing. Nate says, I love how confrontational you are against the ADL. You're Jewish, so it really confuses them when people like you attack them. I just don't, and no offense if you work at the ADL, you're working for whatever, the ADL, but it's obviously not personal because I don't know you, but it's so crazy that people think that the way to combat anti-Semitism or hate is by like ruining people's lives. Why? Who in their right mind gets targeted by the ADL and is like, wow, I love Jews? Nobody gets targeted by the ADL and says, Jews are awesome, I want to be friends with them. No. they say, I would say if I was targeted by the ADL, like, this sucks, these people are freaking mafia. They try to destroy anybody that has an opinion that they don't like. It's like communism. McDonald Trump says, I love Jews. Ira says Biden pushed for emergency lockdown measures for Easter. Of course he did. Did he say anything about Passover? I don't know. I didn't hear anybody say anything about Passover. Yeah, so Easter. What do people do on Easter? They go to church, right? Get together. Sounds a little bit like Passover, but maybe all the holidays are the same. So I'll tell you a little bit about Passover. Passover is it was very fun for me when I was a kid. it's basically one of the longer Jewish holidays. Goes on for like 8 days. You're in the house with your family. The first 2 days and the last 2 days, sometimes 3 if the Sabbath is like lumped in, are non-work days, which means you can't like touch. You're basically Amish a little bit. You know, can't touch electricity, can't light a fire. Although you can probably use an existing fire if it's the holiday, not Sabbath. You can't touch your phone, whatever, drive a car, blah blah blah. So you're basically just home with your family, eating, sleeping, going to and that's your whole life. And there's a lot of kids, because religious families have a lot of kids, so you're just like surrounded by kids, and talking, and so on Passover there's like a lot of, you know, you can't have like unleavened bread. That's like one of the prohibitions for Passover. So usually that also cuts out like anything that's why am I describing Passover? What Joe says, what about lighting a candle? Yeah, you light a candle at the beginning of the holidays. Where am I now? Yeah, country. I think I might be driving through Midland. I know one of you guys I was talking to you recently about buying a house in Midland because it's like a conservative town. Very, very beautiful houses, and it's like an oil town. A lot of people work in the oil industry there. But I haven't spent time there myself. I just hear about it. Lots of trucks. A lot of trucks. Nate says, when Pardes talks about Jewish customs, it makes me miss Lila. I miss Lila too. Lila's my oldest friend, and we grew up together. Now, like, I don't talk to her enough. Iron says, thankfully I'm not religious. Yeah. I've been thinking about religion lately also, because there's so many nice things about religion, even though I left it, so obviously I have problems with it, but there's a lot of nice things about it. It's hard to decide like what I want to keep and what I don't want to keep. It's like I kind of like a lot of things about religion. I like that religious people have a sense of purpose, and that you know, family's a big thing. People have a lot of kids, and the energy is fun, and there's always something to do with, like, my family's religion, for example. It's really hard to be part of like secular life, so you're kind of forced to run your own business, because like, I mean, with all these holidays, it'd be really hard to be working for somebody. It causes like a lot of people to become very self-sufficient and wealthy in the long term, because they're all running their own businesses and they're all like helping each other out, so that's good. There's things that I don't like though. I don't like people following the leader like sheep. I don't like it when people don't think for themselves, and, or, you know, I don't like feeling intimidated. If you do this, then, if you don't do this, then this will happen to you. That bad thing will happen to you, or, you know, like, I also don't like that a lot of religions are very, I'm gonna sound like a feminist, but there's like no point in being a woman in them, because all the rules are made, all the exciting things are made for men. The only purpose you have as a woman, is to help reproduce, which is, it's nice to have kids, but body to physically pop out a kid. You don't need, like, I mean, you can say, oh, but they raise the kids. Anybody can raise a kid. It's like, you know, unless you've never been around kids. Matt says, raise your hand if you want poop yesterday. What? Jim says, communism gave birth to cancel culture. Hello from the UK. Thank you for watching. Very honored. Nate says, but Jewish law doesn't put much emphasis on the male DNA. They put more emphasis on the woman's DNA. Yeah, that's true. Judaism goes according to the mom. But, I mean, that doesn't, you know, they'll say all these things about how, like, oh, that shows that they care so much about women, because, like, what a big influence women have. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about women. It's all about, so, like, not to be too graphic, but in a lot of these communities that were being persecuted, like, you know, Jewish minority communities, you know, these people would come in and they would, like, take the town. The women would get raped, and when that happens in your community, you don't know who the father is, but you always know who the mom is. For Judaism to go according to the mom, because you know who the mom is. You know, like, if the mom is Jewish, then you know the kid's at least Jewish from the mom, because you can't always know who the dad is. I mean, in the olden days, you can't always know who the dad is because they didn't have, like, paternity tests. So it doesn't have anything to do with how smart women are or how influential the female character is. Wow. Nobody cares. So, yeah, I mean, I like observing religion. I like watching people participate in it, but there's really no place in it for me. Iron says, today's youth makes me fear for the future. Nate says, you should interview Stephen Miller. He's a rebel Jew just like you. Oh yeah. So, I remember when Stephen Miller went to work for the White House, because he went to a modern Orthodox school, and his rabbis, I believe it was a modern Orthodox, yeah, I believe he went to a modern Orthodox day school. I think he went to ULA for high school even. So, that's the same school that Ben Shapiro went to. It's a modern Orthodox high school in Los Angeles. And so all these rabbis or, like, you know, teachers and stuff that were, like, kind of lefty, because a lot of the people who teach in those modern schools are not so religious. So they came out and they're like, oh, he was such a bad kid, we denounce him. And it was so silly to me. Why would you denounce your student? This road trip is going to be endless. Like, I'm going to be on here for the next several hours, at least. So, get comfortable. Do what you need to do, whatever. Mile-a-thon. Iron says, Twitter taught me the human race needs a cleansing. An ethnic cleansing? hero could be a Sith Lord in a Star Wars movie, is what someone said. Jim says children are an empty canvas. Yeah, it's cool. Kids are like dogs. However annoying the owner is how the kids are going to be. If the owner is fine, the parents are fine, like the kids will be fine, they'll be cute. But if like cringeworthy parents, you're going to have a really annoying cringeworthy dog or child. Ahmed says I am working from home and watching on the side. Thank you. I'm so honored. I'm doing well. Thank you, Anim Sock. I'm doing well today. I was really very not sure that if I would take this trip. Because it just like another construction site. At some point we'll start getting to a place where there's like a lot of oil rigs, so I'll show you that. But for now it's just barren. If you want to turn off the video part and just listen to audio, you can do that. Also be me, and I'm just gonna be like staring ahead, maybe like glancing. Nate says you should start your own kibbutz in Texas. It'd be fun. Yeah, that would be fun. Kind of miss Israel. Like when I was there, it was almost 10 years ago that I was studying there, and it was in Jerusalem. It's a really fun place. It's cool, and there's just so much history packed into a little tiny area. And there's so many different kinds of religious people, and even that stuff is fun. Like, religion is fascinating to me. The religions that you see in Israel, obviously there's mostly Jewish sects, but there's also, you see different kind of Christians. You see a lot of those Orthodox Christian with they wear like, how do you describe it? They wear like long they have long robes and then big crosses hanging on their necks, and they're just like, and they look like shit, and there's a lot of them, like all over. You see them a lot. And there's all kinds of people. But Jim says social media is a cesspool. All those rabbis, we were always kind of lefty. Yeah, it's the less religious ones though. It's always like the modern, generally Orthodox. It only makes sense, like it's not very common to have Orthodox Jews that are left-wing. And I know Orthodox Jews that are left-wing, but usually you would describe them more as like conservadox. Like they're not that Orthodox usually, because ideologically it would be really hard to be an Orthodox Jew that is not right-wing. That's why Orthodox Jews came in heavy for Trump, because it's just the kind of ideology that would more likely vote right-wing than left-wing. But the thing about modern Orthodox Jews is that a lot of them are like kind of lenient with a lot of things. They're more lax. They're more educated usually. Like they try in those places, right-wing culture is not mainstream. Hello from Israel. How are you doing? Oh, hello from Istanbul. That's cool. Are you serious? Wow, you might be the first person that I've noticed from Istanbul. Happy Nowruz to Hamid from Stockholm. That's cool. Wow. Oh man. Don't comment so fast. Have to read them. Pardes bare arms making a rare appearance today. Mark Halawa says, I live in the center of Jerusalem, just had a Passover Seder, 100% understand. I've been hammered by my in-laws by hinting disagreement to my daughter's education. Why? In what way? In what way are you being how? Oh, okay, because you're right. Because the thing is, like, it's also very communal, right? I get it. It's like very communal, so everyone's, it's tough for females in the Jewish world, yeah. From Jerusalem, this is so cool. I really miss Jerusalem. I wish I was supposed to be there. Actually, I had a flight March 15th of last year, and then they announced March 15th of last year, they announced that there was going to be a lockdown, so I couldn't go. I was going to go visit my sister because she was living there. So anyway, I really appreciate it when people like notice that about their daughter's education. It's like your daughter goes to school and they teach her that her sole purpose in life is to help her husband learn. And it's nice to help people and to help your husband, but so like you're not going to teach your daughter that, I mean, you work so hard to bring a child in, like give birth to them, let them use up all your resources and everything. You're going to invest all of that time and energy into a child so that she could help her husband learn, like, so she doesn't have any other purpose in life, like not even learn yourself, fulfill your, husband, learn, give birth to another child. I mean, it's valuable to give birth to children, but I don't know. People are always like, oh no, women. I remember I would ask this question a lot. Like, there's a prayer that men say every morning, Orthodox Jewish men. They say, like my brothers say it every morning, blessing, Shalom Asani Isha. And it means that, like, it's like, the blessing goes like, thank you God, blah blah blah, for not making me a woman. And if you ask, my brother will be honest about it. If you ask my brother, like, how dare they make that a thing? Why that you don't want to be a woman? And he goes, because I don't want to be a woman. I'm glad I'm not a woman. Women don't get to do all these things that I get to do in this religion. They don't have all these mitzvahs and laws that are like, fulfilling. They don't have this commandment to learn. So I do. So that's why I'm happy that I'm not a woman. At least my brother's honest, So a lot of rabbis, when you ask them this question, because they know that you're being like, you're trying to give them a hard time, say it's because women are on such a higher level than men, and the reason why we say thank you God for not making me a woman is because we would never be able to reach the level that women are at with the resources that we've been given as men. So thank you God for not I don't know, it's just, they just make it so fluffy and twisted, and it's like, just say, because it's just way more worth it to be a man in this religion if you want to accomplish anything with your life. If you want to be anything, just not worth it to be a woman. I mean, and if you're a man, I think that Judaism is a great religion for you. I really do, because there's so much to do, there's so much to accomplish. You want to go into business, so many people to go into business with. The men are all kicking butt. Actually, there are a lot of women who are really great business people, now that I think about it. There's a cop. What's going on here? Ooh, turned off their lights. Something shady is about to happen. a video yesterday that really, really made my blood boil. It was like these two girls that in Washington D.C. This Uber Eats driver came with their order or something. He gets out of his car, leaves the car running because that's what they do. That's what Uber Eats drivers do. They leave, they open the door of their car, bring out the food to give it to you. It's in a nice part of DC. It's in Chinatown, like Gallery Place. The place with the building with the big balls. So I used to pass by that area all the time, and it's really nice. And so you don't think anything's gonna happen to you there. And then these two girls, ages 15 and 13, they try to steal his car. I don't know if they were trying to steal the car so they can have it, seriously trying to steal the car, or they were just doing it as a joke, because it's not like they had their driver's licenses or anything or knew how to drive, so they might have been just playing. Either way, thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. And so they basically try to steal this man's car. He's a Pakistani refugee. Immigrant, not refugee, what am I saying? Muhammad Anwar. And anyway, this guy, Muhammad, is like, stop it! They're thieves! These guys, these girls are keep wrestling with him for his car. And he tries to stay in it, and then they one of them sticks her foot on the pedal and just drives it off to try and shake him out of the car, and it crashes, hits the end of is a dead end street kind of, so it hits the end, flips, and the guy comes flying out of the car, dying on the pavement. And this video that you're seeing is some guy who's a bystander was taking the video. He's running with the camera, taking the video, and that guy is dying on the pavement. And this girl is yelling, my phone is in there! And you're just what? She literally just killed a man, an innocent Uber driver man, and she's yelling that her phone is still in the car. My gosh, when I saw that, I was livid. And then I saw, of course, CNN and all these media outlets were it was an accident. I was what do you mean you can't blame them just because they're teenagers? Teenagers go to jail all the time. It's a thing. If these were two white boys, they would be in jail. They killed a man. It wasn't even an accident, they were they were riding their bikes and they accidentally hit a man and he died. No, it wasn't an accident. They tried to shake him out of his car. They tried to steal his car. What? Why would anyone make an excuse for that? And I know I'm not trying, I'm not one of these people that's oh, you're evil. I don't think people are evil. I think that people's reality is so distorted. Their priorities are so distorted. I get that you're trying to be equal. You're not trying to be equal. I know you think you're trying to be equal because you want there to be an equal amount of people that are in jails, and you think there's too many black people, let's say, in jail, so you don't want there to be more. But if someone committed a crime, they should be held accountable the same way that anybody else would. I'm not making sense, but girls did would never make it out of jail. I don't know how long they would keep them in jail, but that would never happen. Nobody would be rushing to their defense, and it would be called a hate crime. So not only would they get punished, their families and everybody that they know, and there would be like a race war happening over it. Jim says, I blame TikTok for their stupid challenges. Joe says, BLM stuff is out of control. Oops. Josh says, Pardes, you have so much class, you could be an entire university. Thank you. Yeah, this area is just country for miles. Can you even call this country? There's nothing here. It's barren. Whoa, it's actually kind of pretty. It's like a lot of trees. A lot of brown trees. Shrubs. Someone's going on a trip with their RV bikes. Sports. Iron says CNN tried to say it was an accident. Jim says DC wants to become a state. Good luck. Yeah, DC wants to be a state because reliably blue district. So they're reliably blue. They might be the bluest in the country. So I think it's 96% of DC registered voters voted for Hillary Clinton. 96. And then it was maybe like 3 or 4%, independents, Democrat, Republicans, whatever. So 96% for Hillary. Yeah, DC is very reliably Democrat. So they want to be a state because then there'll be a reliable 2 Democrats added to Congress. So what's that car doing? Just hanging out there. Yeah, DC was a lot of fun. I miss it. It was very. There was always a lot of things to do. There are a lot of things that I don't miss. I don't miss living there. I miss being there, like for parties, going out, doing crazy things, meeting crazy people. I don't miss living there because it's so transient. So if you have trouble feeling lonely or whatever, if you feel like you're just always on your own, it's much nicer to be in a place like Texas because it doesn't feel bad. You have space, things are cheaper, you can buy your own house, whatever. Fly to other places when you want company. In DC, it was kind of hard to be alone because everything is just more expensive, so you're forced to compromise a lot more with your living situation, and it's also very transient, so people are like moving in and out a lot, so you're not making as many friendships, relationships that are long-term. People that you meet could not be there a week later, 2 weeks later, and so it's hard to. And then also there's an element of a lot of people that are there solely for work. So you don't know who your friends are because they might actually just be trying to get some kind of connection out of you. They might be trying to get something out of you that's not friendship. They might have zero that also want to be my friend if I think that I'm making friends with them. But a lot of it is not like that. We're not looking for friends. Ira says, is Ollie still alive? Ollie is awesome. I just gotta say, Ollie is so great. He's a great guy. And he's fun. He's a very smart person. I appreciate him more, like the more I get to know him. He's very wise, and he has gone through a lot. He's overcome a lot, and I think people like that overcome a lot. Personalities, they become very like multi-dimensional because they've had to learn a lot of tough lessons, and you can't just know. You'd have to like experience it to understand how to deal with it. So yeah, I think Ali is going to come back, make a comeback. A lot of people fell off the map when Trump was president, or when Trump left office, because I don't know, a lot of people felt burned, or actually got burned by what was happening in DC and the bullying, the establishment. Trump people, for example. Nothing is forever. Yesterday's fringe is today's mainstream. Nobody stays fringy forever. Like, people make comebacks, they become, people, the only people, like, Richard Nixon, for example, was a Trump figure of his time. He was, like, very fringe, considered outsider, like, people, the media hated him, whatever. Now it's like, I mean, I have a friend whose grandfather was Nixon's doctor, and it's like, it's cool. Everyone thinks it's cool. I've never seen anyone be like, whoa, your grandfather was a doctor for Hitler, such a bad guy. No, like, nobody cares. After a while, people don't care. So people like Ali, especially because he's got a great network, he's got a lot of influence. They're gonna make a comeback. Trump is gonna make a comeback. Maybe not as president, but something. Whoever just does these comments on YouTube, like Richard Nixon, Trump stole my swag after I died, dang copycat, it's so funny. This is my water. Nice. I knew it wasn't gonna. Gosh, Texas. You can say dead deer. my body. Got sick once. COVID actually. It's really bad. Like, I went to urgent care twice actually because I was like not able to breathe, and very dry throat. I had fever, and the doctor didn't know what it was. Virus. This was the end of December 2019, beginning of January. I was like, so yeah, I got that. Ever since then, I've been pretty careless about germs. I've been fine. You know, the people around me have been getting tested. Everyone's fine. I'm not like, oh, many times when I was supposed to get vaccinated for other things, and either I forgot or I was late. I love that these people wear cowboy hats. Even the cops are wearing cowboy hats. It's so funny. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of don't feel like I need to be vaccinated for every little thing. Josh says, Pardes, this is awful. What? Oh, am I gonna stream again? Yeah. Yeah, I want to stream again. Yeah, I want to stream again. Is it too choppy? Anyway, I was actually going to take a rest stop break, so this is my cue. See you guys soon. And there is a rest stop right around Western. See you all later. Road trip part 2, and thanks for joining. Like this video even though it's choppy.